When you kick an episode off with a shot like this, you know it's about to get spicy, but you never can quite know exactly how spicy of an ass episode can get until you have Jeanne of all characters just so bluntly and so with so much authority and assertiveness just saying to disrobe as you have a very flustered boy just, go from being able to give death glares for days to feeling like, someone who's about to experience his first time. And I love how in the moment and that entire night, knowing that, okay, one, feeling guilty because you think this is because of you, he protected you from that attack, he was poisoned, he's clearly going to freeze to death, or at the very least he won't be able to get warm in those wet clothes. And throughout that entire sequence, she was so, blunt and to the point, and there's even these points where you can tell she maybe is just doing things in a way that she doesn't necessarily have to. She could probably grab a cup and pour it and just kind of shove it in his mouth. And instead, she goes the old, I'm going to pass it mouth to mouth style. And you know damn well she could have found another solution that he probably would have accepted. But she knew what she wanted. And it's an interesting turn of events because comparing Core 1 to Core 2, I mean, it's almost like the roles have been reversed in terms of who's being dominant and who's being submissive there. But I love the aftermath, the kind of morning after, because he's gone, he's chatting up a storm outside, and you see her go from little girl embarrassed, like, oh man, I kind of like him, to smashing her head into the wall in a fit of embarrassment. This show knows how to get the spice right, and I was not expecting more spice. And then when Noe's side kicks in and you see Chloe I wasn't sure what we were going to experience in that scene, but I can definitely say having a butler-style kind of bodyguard for her popping up saying, don't do that without permission, that was the least on my list because I wasn't expecting him to be getting embarrassed saying oh, whose blood tasted better? Okay, I'm not mad anymore. I fixed your clothes. Here you go. And then to so casually end the episode after the spice and the drama and the tension to then just see that scene with the animatronics, the big bad, we have all these different things and fully confirm that the book is indeed in her hands. I mean, after last week, it definitely felt that way, but you have to always be open to the possibilities that, okay, a character loses his prized weapon, very well could easily be resolved in the first couple of minutes of the next episode. The reason being, because maybe it just fell off in the distance, or maybe they'll get it back very quickly. But it seems like this core, at least for the first bit here, is going to stick with the formula of not letting our boy do his signature move. Open up that book, save a life. And very much he still wants to save Chloe, but then we have the difference of was Jeanne trying to kill her, and you have all these conflicting informations kind of thrown our way. And I mean, granted, with how dramatic the last 3 to 4 episodes of Core 1 was, I'm very much kind of leaning on Vanitas' side saying yeah, I mean, what he's saying I feel might be a little more in line and not as skewed with the truth and reality. We never quite know, especially given that, I mean, she doesn't necessarily seem evil, but she has evil people surrounding her, especially the charlatan, which we got a taste of at the end of the episode. So, I mean, if he can get the book back in time and save her, it's not in the realm of impossible for her to be saved. But at the same time, there's a lot of mystery surrounding Chloe and what seems to be the antagonist, which is her, of this part of the season anyway. I mean, we obviously know the overall big bad who's been teased constantly throughout Core 1 and the couple of episodes we've had of Core 2. But she definitely seems like the main foe we're kind of targeting right now, and I'm curious to see how long she'll actually last in this arc. But I mean, one of the best parts, I think, of the first part of the show was honestly seeing the kind of will they, won't they romances / is there romantic feelings kind of blossom while being surrounded by this great action, this great lore, this great world. And to see it now kind of feel like it's coming a little more full circle, because Core 1 was definitely a lot more one-sided. But now it almost feels like things are kind of coming to fruition, and it will be interesting to see, especially with the main duo from this episode, with Jeanne and Vanitas, where they're gonna go, because, I mean, he's so, defeated, so if this was any other situation, I would be very curious to see how he would have responded, because one, he doesn't want people who like him back to be interested. He wants those that basically don't like him or respect him, sort of a thing. But you're definitely seeing the cracks start to show in his character, and you're seeing the more vulnerable aspects. So I'm kind of curious to see how far they actually will go over this core. And then in terms of like Noe and the others, it's always just a treat to see wherever the hell they're gonna go. But that standoff scene after, the morning after the whole like sexual tension thing happened, the idea of him just drawing blades saying like, tell me the information you're keeping from me. Then you have like number one Dom over here just like basically ready to throw down and die for his man. As you then just have like the person in question being like, God damn it, we don't need to fight. I will give you the information. Just like, can we just calm down a little? I'm curious to see where the next like probably 2 to 3 episodes will go, because what it feels like is like we're going to invade that mansion or that big ass building where clearly Noe's being held. And I'm curious to see if they do like bust down the doors, if Noe will be the type of person to say, actually, I really have gotten to know her. I don't think we need to fight her. And then we'll have like half the characters agree with that, half the characters not. Are we going to have like a Civil War situation where like the heroes are kind of fighting themselves because they have a different opinion of what's going to go down? It's kind of hard to say, but it's very much feeling like we're building up to something around the midway point of this season where, you know, we think, okay, Chloe's going to last the entire core of like, are we going to be able to defeat her? Or are we going to kill her? Are we going to save her? This or that. And then something even more explosive like with Ruthin or something is going to pop up that will really show us what the core in terms of dramatic needs to show us. I mean, the first episode of this core had so much information and dropping so many bombshells left and right. This episode takes it a bit slower and saying, okay, we proved to you that you want to stick with us. Now we're going to remind you of those other elements that you probably really enjoyed. I mean, otherwise, if you didn't enjoy the elements that this episode showcased, there's no way you got through the first core unless you just hate watching shows. So it kind of feels like between the first episode and this, it kind of has experienced the best of this show without anything I would really change. I mean, just look at that one scene with Noe just experiencing the perspective of that building. I mean, that's definitely something that's underappreciated in the show, is how they use space and perspective to really give you a sense of scale and scope in these buildings. And it's just so visually impressive to look at as you have all these different art styles, from the chibi aesthetic just making me want to laugh at every possible moment. The evil eyes that just are so, like, I mean, just look at these eyes here. I mean, it's hard not to feel a chill up your spine, feeling like, goddamn, you wouldn't want to cross this man. To even some of the more somber moments of just kind of reflection. This show just, it knows what it's doing so far, and I hope this won't be the only core we get, because obviously we knew Core 1 and Core 2 were in production at the same time. But I'm hoping that when Core 2 does end, I mean, this is profitable enough, popular enough in terms of an anime that a production committee would want to fund more, because I definitely don't want to see this one over. And if we only do get the one season, I mean, eventually I'm going to have to check out the manga, which I hope we can continue with these voice actors, this production, but you never quite know with anime. But as it stands, we have now 14 episodes of quality, and we still have another 10 to go at the very least, so let's see where it goes, right? Let me know your thoughts, feelings on this week's episode down below. Favorite moment, what do you hope to see with next week's episode? Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.